Hi, my name is Clarissa. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do a really fun video that I've never done before. So I'm actually going to read two books that have the same premise. So I'm actually going to read The Perfect Mother by Amy Molloy first. Reason being, with All the Dangerous Things, I've read a book by Stacey Willingham before and I really enjoyed it. So out of these two books, I'm most excited for this one and I'm hoping to kind of like save the best for last. So that's why I'm gonna read this book second. In The Perfect Mother, there's a group of moms that they're all in the same momming group and they all became friends. And one night they decided to kind of like take a night without the babies and enjoy themselves. And while they're out, one of the babies is being babysat and he is actually kidnapped. So that's what this one's about. All the Dangerous Things by Stacey Willingham, again, same premise but slightly different. This is about a mother who has lost sleep for a whole year trying to find her son because he was also kidnapped in his crib while they were sleeping. And in this story, there's also a man who does this podcast and he comes across her because he knows about her story. And so he wants to help her find her son. So he's asking her questions, and then this in turn makes her question some things in the past in her life. So yeah, those are the two books, The Perfect Mother and All the Dangerous Things. So I'm gonna read The Perfect Mother first and then All the Dangerous Things second. I'm gonna give reviews and then, touch on which one I liked more, star rating, all the stuff like that. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I just got to page 100 in The Perfect Mother, and so far I'm liking it. Just a little bit about it. I thought that it was gonna be like kind of like from the point of view of the mom, or at least the whole time, but there's actually multiple characters and it's actually her friend group, like her friends that are in her like mommy group that she's in. Yeah, so far, I'm trying to think without any spoilers. There hasn't been any like spoilers yet. Just, I don't want to say too much information just in case it's kind of like, it's part of the story. But anyways, the main character, her baby was kidnapped. I think like 2 days old or something. No, I lie. I think like 2 months old. Um, and yeah, that happens when she goes out to the bar with her friends in the mommy group, and they kind of did it for her, where they're like, she's really stressed and she kind of needs to let loose and everything, so they're trying to do it for her just to kind of like have a great time. And like all the moms decided like, okay, we need a break from the babies, to have a little fun, but it was mainly for the main character. And so yeah, she goes out the whole time. She's kind of like watching her baby, making sure he's okay, like on a like a cam. And yeah, and I don't know, somehow like the baby was kidnapped while the babysitter was watching the baby. So, and like I feel like there's so much things going on because there's like a lot of characters and kind of like all over the place. Like one character leaves, you don't know what they're doing. Another character, so like all the time, I think like later in the book I feel or think that like the timeline's gonna merge, and then you're gonna see like, okay, this character is actually doing this and this other character is actually over here doing that. So I think that's what's gonna happen. Sorry, I keep pausing because the neighbors are like honking their car and stuff like that, like locking it. So there's the main character, the mom that had her, that has her baby missing, and then there's some people in the mommy group, and there's like 3 or 4 of them. So, and yeah, in the story, the book goes
from different POVs, from all their point of views. And but sometimes like you don't know from who, because it doesn't, like at the top of the chapter doesn't say, you know, whose point of view it is. You just kind of like have to figure it out, and the author makes you like work for it. um so which is kind of like annoying, because I just want to like read what's going on, and like and already know what's like who it's like coming from, kind of thing. I don't know if the author is kind of doing that to have like the mystery, like the first, like, oh, who is it, like kind of like every single time before you find out, okay, who it actually is. So I don't know, but yeah, there's different point of views. There's also at the beginning of every chapter, there's like kind of like emails that are sent from like the director, kind of the mommy group. You actually don't know who it is that's giving these like tips, but somebody is. But it's like the, you know, like head of the mom group, I suppose. And yeah, every beginning of the chapter just say like, oh, mommy tip, and it says this cool thing, and it says like, oh, what day it is, like how old the babies are. So yeah, I think that is really cool, like a nice kind of like take on it. Um, but yeah, like I said, so far I'm enjoying it. I like the characters. I think the characters are diverse. There is one woman that's like unlikable. Um, you know, she just seems like a bee and kind of like, I don't know, just like crazy. But you know, not enough to like, she's not annoying, so it's not like, you know, I don't dislike the story because of that. But yeah, I'm gonna continue reading right now, and I'll get back to you guys soon. Okay, so I just finished chapter 10, and so far it seems like the main character, or the mom that's missing her baby, it seems like if she was in on it. And yeah, so at first, like this whole time, the whole story, you're trying to go along with her and her friends and trying to figure out like what happened that night when they're at the bar, like, you know, because she was acting funny. She was like always focused on her phone, but she had like a baby app on her phone, and it's like it shows that she was watching her baby, but you know, she could have been doing anything. At one point at the bar, she was talking to this man, and so like some of the girls like in the mommy group were like looking at this, and they think that he looks familiar or whatever. And so, but everybody was pretty much drunk. Some people weren't. So everybody doesn't know like what happened, and they're trying to put pieces together what happened that night. And yeah, so they're just going on. All the mothers are really sad and heartbroken that the baby's missing, and they're wondering like where he's at, and they're all very like disturbed about it. But yeah, you're not really hearing from the mom that had the baby missing. And now you read like a chapter. It's not a chapter, it's more like a one page, but it looks like a letter, like if as if she's writing a letter to this man that I believe is the baby's father. And it seems like that guy, it seems like just based off what she's saying, it seems like he wants nothing to do with her, and he kind of like ghosted her. And but it seems like she's like maybe like an obsessive woman, and as if like he like made a mistake or whatever, and he, you know, he doesn't really care about her, but she's like obsessed with him, and I think she doesn't see that or notice that. So yeah, I think she has some mental problems, but that's just how it seems right now. And like I said, in the last chapter, I believe it was like a one page like letter thing, it looks like. And yeah, it just seems like she's not caring like about her baby at all. Like she literally just like left and like traveled somewhere, so it seems like she's not even concerned with it. She seems fine. And yeah, it's looking like she had something to do with it, and that's where we're at right now. Hi guys, so I just finished The Perfect Mother yesterday, last night, and it sucked. It was bad. So this book is about a group of moms, and they all met. Sorry, I'm looking at Cosmo. He's playing, but so they met in like a group, like a mommy group, like I don't know, website, and so they all like got to know each other. They all like hang out, and you know they're all struggling and going through being new moms, and they all want a break from the babies. And all the moms notice that one of the moms, Winnie, is kind of like seems depressed, and they all kind of want to help her get out of her slump and just have her get out of the house and like have a little bit of fun. So they all decide to go to the bar and just to enjoy themselves. And while they're out, Winnie, she's having her baby watched by a babysitter that one of the other moms recommended. And you know, she wasn't feeling too secure with that. Like she wasn't, you know, sure like about it. This is her first time away from her baby. And yeah, and you know, just the whole time she has like this baby app, and she's just watching her baby, making sure he's okay. And then one of the characters, I forget her name now. Yeah, now. She I didn't like her, at least as a person, you know. Like she just kind of seems like a really like edgy type woman. Yeah, I didn't like her at all, but it didn't affect my time reading this. So now what she ends up doing is deleting the baby app because she just wants Winnie to focus on having a good time and not worrying about the baby, right? And then now gets like really drunk, and she like takes Winnie's phone and like kind of like hides it in her purse, and like her keys there too. Winnie's key is like in her phone. And then she gets like really drunk, and she kind of walks away, and then now comes back, and they're trying to find Winnie's phone and keys, and they can't find Winnie either. She kind of like walked away to get away from like the moms, you know, and just do her own thing. And then she ends up leaving. Like she seems like stressed or like worried about something, and she ends up leaving somewhere. So all the moms are kind of looking for Winnie, looking for her phone and her key, and are wondering what happens. And then they actually find out, I believe, that the babysitter that Now recommended called Now because I think she couldn't get a hold of Winnie or something. And then she gets a hold of Now and says that the baby is missing and she can't find the baby at all. So the baby was kidnapped, and you know, the story just goes from there. Everyone is trying to find out what happened to the baby. Is the baby still alive? Who took him? It's kind of pointed to the mom because, you know, she just kind of like disappeared, and you're not getting her point of view at all. There's other moms that are mentioned, I think like 2 or 3 of them, but they're not really in the story at all. So that was actually one of the cons I was going to mention about this book, is that there was way too many characters, or at least too many characters that were mentioned. I feel like the author could have just said, you know, like, there's other moms in the group, just so you kind of know that there's not only those 4 women, I guess. Like, so she could have easily said, yeah, you know, like, there's other moms in the group, but the main moms don't really like talk to them that much or whatever, you know, just so you kind of like get the hint of that. But yeah, so there's just 4 main moms, like I said. The main character, or like at least the one that had her baby missing, but she's not really in the story at all. You're mainly seeing the point of views of the 3 other moms, Now, Colette, and Francie. Then it goes back and forth, and I like that. I like the different point of views, and it all seems like the moms are like really caring, and they all want to find the baby. When it came down to it, I was really enjoying my time reading this book. I didn't have any problems with it at all, and I was just kind of like wanting to know like, where's the baby, what happened. I was really interested. And like I said, like, you're kind of like pointed in a direction, like where it's gonna go. Or at least you have an idea of like who took the baby, you know. And kind of like the stakes were like kind of high, but not to the point where like it seems like the author is just trying to like give you that like scare factor or like that thrilling factor, and just to bring you back down like for no reason. It didn't feel like that at all. So I really liked it. You know, it was a fine time until the end. So there was a twist. I would have liked it, but the character, okay, I'm gonna leave a little spoiler at the bottom just in case, but if you don't care to read this book, then go ahead and keep watching. But yeah, just in case, I don't know if this is considered a spoiler, so I'm just gonna, you know, put one just in case. So anyways, yeah, the twist is that this certain person, you know, took the baby or whatever, but it's like you couldn't have seen it coming because she wasn't even in the book. They were mentioned like a few times, maybe like 3 times maybe, but there's no way you could have guessed it. And I think the author made it like that on purpose. Like, it's like, okay, it's a twist, but it's like, of course you're not going to get it if this character isn't even in the forefront of your mind, you know, like they're not even one of the main characters or even like secondary characters. Okay, I'm gonna stop the spoilers, at least for now, right here. Okay, so if you didn't watch that part, I just want to say like pretty much that there was a twist, but I think it was bad because you would not have guessed it. That's pretty much the gist of what I said. You cute. You better go get it. You better go get it. Go get it. Go get it. What? What, baby? What? Okay. The other thing I almost forgot to mention is that, the other thing that I forgot to mention is that there is mental health represented in this book. Okay, so I'm pretty upset because I was literally recording for like 10 or 15 minutes straight, and it was not recording because my phone storage was full, which freaking sucks so much. So I don't even know where I left off. So I don't know what the last thing I said, but just to kind of go through things all over again, just really quick. Trigger warning for anything that has to do with like a loss of a child, whether that's miscarriages or stillbirths, anything like that. This book definitely has to do with mental health, especially from being a mom. And I think that was the whole point of this book, because at the very end, like I said, it ends like pretty much on that. Like it just shows like the mom that lost her baby. It just kind of shows it from her point of view and how now she's affected by it and how she's so kind of like on edge now. And then it like just stops right there. So it was kind of like a weird ending. Before I get into that, yeah. So mental health, being a mom, it's hard. You can't be a perfect mom, and all these moms are like not, well, yeah, they're striving to be that, and they all think the other moms are like perfect and they got everything figured out, but none of them do, you know. All the moms have like an issue. Like one of them has problems with producing breast milk. The other one has or at least the other one's worried about her baby, thinking that like she's not developing correctly, just stuff like that. So they all worry about their babies. They all worry if they're being, the perfect mom. Another thing, oh yeah, the characters, they weren't very distinct. When you're reading the story, it kind of starts off, all the paragraphs kind of start off with a certain character's point of view, but you don't know who it is yet until like their name is mentioned or something, and they all seem similar. So if it wasn't for their names being mentioned in the paragraphs, I definitely would not have like known who the point of view is coming from. Only the one of the characters I really really liked, and I thought she was like really cute. I liked her personality. Her name was Francie, but even her though, like even her, I wouldn't have known it was her if it wasn't mentioned. So all the characters just seem to like kind of blend in together. Even like the mom's parents, I only mentioned that because I think all of their parents were kind of mentioned or like brought into the book somehow in the story. But yeah, like it's kind of like hard to know who's who. I don't know if I mentioned it already. There's also other moms in the group that are like mentioned, but it's for no reason at all. And even their names are like talked about. So it's like kind of like there's no need for that, because then you're gonna think like, okay, I need to remember who this person is, but then they're never mentioned again, so I just feel like the author could have left out with their names at least, or like not bring characters in it if they have nothing to do with the story. Also with the end, I'm gonna give spoilers after this, but with the ending, I just think it was to show like how stressful moms are, or how stressful it can be on moms, and it just seemed like that was the whole point. But it was not done in a, I don't know, in an effective way, I guess. Especially in the ending, it was just kind of like all thrown together, and it just felt, I don't know, just weird and misplaced, because like I said, the ending was coming from Winnie, the mom whose baby was kidnapped. So it came from her point of view, which she wasn't even mentioned in the book really, or in the story. So it was just kind of like weird that the author chose to use her at the very end. Instead of like, the other moms were even like just saying like all together like, okay, like so and so's here, so and so's there, this is what's going on, and wrapping it up. Like no, she was doing it from specifically Winnie's point of view, which did not make sense to me. I'm gonna get into spoilers now. So what I'm confused on is that Winnie sees a woman like going up to Midas, her baby, and she's kind of like, who's this lady? She thinks she knows her. She's like, oh, is it her? Like it can't be. You don't know who she's referring to at all. I assumed it was like her mom, but like I mentioned, all the parents kind of blend in, so I don't know if like her mom, if it was her mom that passed away, or if it was her mom that she had a falling out with. I don't know, but I just assumed she was thinking that it was her mom or something. So yeah, and it just didn't make sense, and it turns out it was another like mom that was invited into the mom group out of nowhere, because it's like, okay, the whole time in the mom group, it's them four. Like I think other moms show up, but it's mainly them four that are really like in a clique, and then those four moms, or at least the three of them, because Winnie didn't know who she was, but the three of them, they all knew her. Her name is Greta, by the way, and they all knew her. They're like, oh, we're over here, like, hi, whatever. And so it's like just kind of weird, because like, why would you bring in a new character on the very last page? Like, what was the point of that? If it was the point to show, if the point was to show like how stressed and like on edge Winnie is, like she could have easily done that just by like, say, showing like, like, oh, to like a couple or a man or a woman, whatever, getting too close to Midas, and then she's thinking like, oh, are they going to his direction, like what's going on? And then it turns out, oh, just a misunderstanding, they're just walking by, or they were just picking up something off the floor, like something, right? So the author could have easily done that, but instead she brings in a whole new character that you don't even know, that was, at least from my recollection, was not mentioned at all in the story previously. So yeah, I don't know if I missed something. I don't know if Greta was introduced one time, even, at least throughout the story. I don't know. So yeah, the ending was just very confusing and weird and just kind of like, what? Like, that doesn't make sense. I even looked it up, like other reviews, and everybody pretty much is on the same like page. Like, at least like the reviews from people that gave it like 1 or 2 stars, they all felt like the ending was weird and misplaced and confusing, So I was like, okay, yeah, like, and they also didn't know who Greta was. So I don't think I was the only one, who like is missing something. But yeah, again, like I said, 2 stars. I did enjoy my time. Like I said, it's not like a horrible book, but I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend it if you just want to read something for the fun, because I mean, you might be okay with the ending. And if you're interested in like books about, I think it's called crib napping or something like that. But if you're interested in that, and mommy groups, and not mom drama, but like, like women being scared of being moms or not being the perfect mom, I would say, check it out. But I personally do not recommend this book. So I'm glad that this is over. Not in a mean way though. I'm just glad that it's over, because now I could read All the Dangerous Things, which I've been so looking forward to reading this book since December. And it's March now. It's like halfway in March. So yeah, I've been looking forward to reading this book for a while. Again, same premise and everything. A woman's baby gets kidnapped. And I don't know, this is just from the top of my head from reading the synopsis months ago. All I know is that her baby gets kidnapped. I don't know if he's like an infant or how old he is when this happens, but he's still in a crib, I believe. And then she goes a year without sleeping. Now she's sleep deprived, and I believe she starts to get paranoid and starts to maybe lose her mind. And then she comes across this man, or this man comes across her and starts doing like interviews, because he has his own podcast, and he starts asking her questions, I believe probably on the baby, but then he kind of starts to flip it on her. I believe he starts asking her questions, which either make it look like, like the audience is gonna look at her and think, oh, was she involved, like did she do something, or the same thing where it's kind of like, okay, now the mom is gonna think like, oh, I'm not remembering anything, like did I do something, and start to have self-doubt. So I think that's what's going on. That's all I know about it, but once I finish it, I will definitely give you more information. But yeah, I'm super excited to read this one, especially because, like I said, if you watch my vlogs, Stacey Willingham, I read her book, A Flicker in the Dark, and I really enjoyed that one. So I'm just excited to read another book from her. Another reason why I'm excited is because this would be my first time reading multiple books by the same author. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start this today. I just finished recording for a like living room tour, so now I am tired because all the lights and everything. But yeah, and since I'm dressed and have my hair done, I thought I might as well record a little update for this video. So I started All the Dangerous Things last night. I don't have the book on me, it's in the back room. But yeah, so I'm just showing you this really quick. But yeah, I started it last night and I got to page 50. And really quick, like it's such a quick read. The writing I don't care for. It's like very, like, I don't want to say descriptive, it's not really that, but it's more kind of like, it feels like maybe like poetic, or like something, like it's too like deep, or I don't know. I'd have to give you an example, but yeah, I don't care for the writing, and I don't remember A Flicker in the Dark being like that. So, and back then when I read that was over a year ago, so I was like kind of like new to reading, so I didn't really pick up on like writing styles, I guess. So yeah, I don't remember ever Stacey Willingham writing like that. But yeah, I don't care for the writing at all. I'm just kind of like reading through it fast because it's kind of like information that you don't need, and kind of like not repetitive, but it's like it doesn't need to be that long, you know? So it's just kind of like a waste of time. So I'm just like reading pretty quick, but like that's not what I mean, or that's not why it's a quick read. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I'm just like enjoying myself or if it's what it's about. Like, I'm not really sure. And also the chapters are really, really short as well. So, yeah, I got to 50 pages last night and I could have definitely read more, but it was really late and I was like really, really tired last night. So that's the only reason why I stopped. You know, and usually I read maybe like 10 to 15 pages a day or at a time if, you know, I'm not really caring for a book. So to just be in one sitting reading that much, that's like pretty good. I already have some theories though, on what happened, or I don't know. I don't want to say though, just in case I am right. But yeah, so far it just seems that the main character, that she doesn't look too good. Like, she seems like she is maybe not necessarily the bad guy, but that she has secrets. She has deep, deep secrets. And yeah, but you know, obviously maybe it's meant to look that way, but we'll see, you know. Another thing, it starts off fast. Like in the premise it said, you know, a man like comes up to her and he does a podcast, and you know, and you already see him, like he's already brought into the story by like page 12, I think. So it starts off really, really quick, and also you're jumping back and forth from the present to the past of when the main character was younger. So yeah, so you kind of see like she's like that she's always had sleeping problems, or you know, so you see that. Just a small thing, but like on page 38 I noticed a mistype, and I don't know, I always think like that's, you know, like strange, because I feel like, you know, editors or like people need to read that and make sure there's no mistakes. But yeah, I saw that like I think the first sentence, it's they, but it was supposed to be the or something like that. But yeah, it's just something that I noticed. I feel like there was something else that I wanted to say, but I don't remember. But I do want to say that I feel like the author is kind of putting her own opinions in the writing, or like what she's talking about, because right away at the beginning, so oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So the mother in this book, her baby was like missing from its crib, but you don't know how old the baby was, and I'm kind of confused though. Like I always figured, you know, like a baby. And when she talks about him, you know, she says that he has like gums, like so he has like no teeth, right? But then there was this time when she said that she's like hanging like his drawings on the fridge. But if I mean, I didn't look it up, and I was going to before I recorded, but I totally forgot. But I I don't know how baby, I don't know like the ages like with babies and like when their teeth start coming in or anything like that. But yeah, I figure, I don't know, like the baby has to be a literal baby. Like he cannot pick up a pen or a pencil if he has no teeth yet. At least that's what I think. So yeah, so at one she's saying he has gums, so it makes me think he's an infant, maybe definitely less than a year old, you know. Again, I don't know when they start growing teeth, but definitely young, maybe like 6 months or younger. And then she says, oh yeah, you know, hanging his drawings, just like scribbles or whatever. So I was like, okay, was he one and older? Was he like 5 years old? Was he four? I don't know. But then even with that, I don't know if 3-year-olds or 4-year-olds are still laying in cribs. So yeah, so I'm just kind of confused on the baby's age. And I don't know if that was a mistake or if you're meant to be confused. I'm not sure. So yeah, back to what I was saying about the author's opinion. So the mother, she's like doing these like talk shows and, you know, I guess keynotes. I don't really know what that is, but she's doing keynotes or something like that, and she's like talking about her experience and what happened, like her baby being gone. It's you know, it's been a year now, stuff like that. And you know, and she's going to like these conventions, and there's like people that are, you know, into that, like into true crime or like these horrible stories or whatever. And you know, and the author is kind of, or like what's being said through the main character is like talking about those type of people that like true crime and like that go to those conventions, I guess, and like just like listening to the stories and how, you know, they like to, you know those like not dangerous stuff, but they like to, I don't know, like, you know, like those people that are like obsessed with like serial killers and stuff like that. It's like that. So, but I feel like the author is like speaking her own opinion through the main character. um so yeah, that's what I think, just because it seems really kind of like just passionate and yeah, I don't know, but it just seems that way. But yeah, like I was saying, I'm really enjoying this so far. So I hope to get to like page 100 today for sure. Hopefully I could read more than that, but yeah, I will update you guys soon. So really quick, I'm reading in my car. I just want to say that I noticed that Stacey Willingham repeats herself a lot. I don't know if she did this in the Flicker in the Dark, but yeah, I'm not even at page 100 yet, and she's already repeated herself 3 times with a certain topic, and then there's another like something like the way she writes that's also repetitive. I just can't remember what that is, but for now, like for example, the eye thing, like there's like veins right here. I can feel my eyes tightening, the blood vessels squeezing. This is the 3rd time she's mentioned blood vessels inside like the eyelids. Okay, this is awkward because I'm in my car, like I said, and like cars are driving by. There's a person outside, so I'm just gonna like keep my phone kind of low. But I wanted to say something really quick. The main character mentions something that is like true and scary, like in real life, you know. So basically, she has like this wall. She has this wall full of like pictures and cutouts of like neighbors and everything, and they're all like registered sex offenders. I'm not saying all her neighbors, I kind of worded that wrong. So she has people on her board, and those people that she has saved are sex registered sex offenders, sex registered sex offenders. Oh my god. And then she says, let's see, but there are hundreds of them, thousands. Oh no, not that part. And then she says, I let it truly sink in, the magnitude of it. They're everywhere, it seems. Our neighbors, coworkers, friends. So yeah, I just wanted to read that because, you know, it is true. Like these people, like these predators, not even just kids, but like, you know, other people, like, because she also mentions it before, the sex offender thing, sexual misconducts with minors, but also like rape in general kind of thing. And it's just scary because, you know, that is true. Like a lot of these people are like people that you know, or even just like acquaintances or somebody that's around you, and even family. It's really scary to think about. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to read that part. Okay, so just a quick update on All the Dangerous Things. I'm almost done with this book. I need like 70 more pages, and I want to finish it so bad, but I wanted to give an update before I continued reading. So yeah, just a few things. I'm still reading this really, really fast. I don't know if it's the whole like, I believe it's called unreliable narrator. I don't know if that's like a trope that I like or what, and if that's why I'm like reading it so quickly. But I'm just like really enjoying my time. I hope it ends good. That's the only thing, is like I hope it ends good because I'm really, really enjoying my time, you know. So it's gonna suck if the ending's bad. But just a few things. The character is kind of like, I don't feel annoyed by her, but there's just like a few things that's like questionable. Like it's kind of like sad because she keeps talking about being lonely like over and over and over, and I could understand because she had like a bad like childhood. Her and her sister were neglected when they were children, so you know she never really got attention to begin with. And then yeah, you know, like so growing up being an adult, she felt lonely, so she like, you know, married some guy or whatever. And then, you know, they divorced. And before that, you know, he wasn't really giving her like attention at all to begin with. And they had a really bad relationship. Not like abusive or something, but just like he wasn't giving her enough attention, you know. And she's kind of like, you know, I want a baby. Maybe that'll fix things. You know, it did, and it doesn't because he's a second partner. But, you know, it's just like sad that she had that mindset like, oh, okay, a baby will fix things. Which is like, that's not, you know, a baby's a big deal. That's not, I don't know why people keep thinking that will solve people's problems. But yeah, so she thinks that she has a baby, and then, you know, obviously the kidnapping happens, and then they divorce, and he's already like moved on with some other girl. And then, you know, this whole podcast guy, he's like saying like, oh yeah, you know, I have to go back to my town or whatever. And because she feels lonely, she's like, oh, why don't you stay? That's another questionable thing that she does, because it's like, who lets a stranger live inside her house, you know. Not only that, like she goes, there's this character in the book that's like an old man that's like sitting in a rocking chair outside at like 1 in the morning or something. And then I don't know if it's the next day or something, and I believe it's morning. What she does is she walks up to these strangers' house right onto the porch and sits down in their rocking chair. And I just think that's so weird because nobody would ever do that. So it's just really, really weird. Other than those things, she's not really a bug. It's just those a few things that are just like weird. Like, why did you think to do that? And I'm trying to think about what else. There are some like new theories that I have. Obviously, I'm not gonna say them just in case, but it does like now the main character is starting to believe that she is in fact the one that hurt, you know, like her sister when she was younger, and that she did something to her baby. There's another scene where she kind of like sees herself on like the baby monitor picking up her baby like while she's sleepwalking, and like just the description of it is like really like creepy, and I really enjoyed that part. The other character that I mentioned, the old man that's on the rocking chair, she like ends up talking to him and having a conversation, and that conversation is also creepy. I like just like everything that he's saying. And right now where I'm at, she is at her parents' house trying to like get some answers, and like she thinks that they know something that she doesn't, and she's trying to talk to them and they just kind of like don't want to talk about it at all. So I don't know, it's like I still feel the same way, like, oh, did she do it? But I'm starting to look at somebody else now. And yeah, so I'm like super excited to finish this, and yeah, it's just interesting so far. So I just finished All the Dangerous Things by Stacey Willingham, and this book was so freaking good. It was just wow. It was really, really good. I read this super fast. I really enjoyed it. I was just eating it up. But the sad thing is that the ending did leave me unsatisfied. It wasn't bad. It could have been a lot better. I think I mentioned this already, but the writing I did not like. It was very like poetic and descriptive. But after a while, I got used to it, and I didn't even notice it anymore. This is also a dual timeline, so for the most part, it is taking place in the present. But here and there, you get really short chapters about when the main character is a child. So there's a thing in her past with her sister and her parents. So there's that. Again, her baby. And then there's also something going on between her and her husband, or like ex-husband. I don't know if I'm missing anything, but yeah, there's a few different like mysteries going on. And even though there's a lot going on, surprisingly, Stacey Willingham, like, she didn't make it messy at all. And by the end of the story, everything's like wrapped up and clearly, and everything makes sense. So there was not any part of this book where things just clashed too much, or just seemed like there was too much things going on just to create like a like excitement factor. Like, that didn't seem like that at all. It just seemed like everything like fit well together, and they all kind of like relied on each other. Also, because there was a lot of things going on, there were a few like theories that I had, and here and there I did get them right, or at least to an extent. But like, I feel like that wasn't really a problem, and I definitely didn't like deduct like stars or points on this book at all, because it's kind of like the book was too good that I didn't even care. Like, I didn't even care if I was like right or slightly right about the theories that I had. That being said, even if you are right or slightly right with your theories, I feel like there were a few twists, and by the end of it, there was like so many things that you think you know what's going on, but you actually don't. And so by the end of the story, like, I was surprised. And I don't want to give too much information, but yeah, it's like, you when you think you know things and you think you're onto something. At least for me personally, I wasn't I wasn't on it, you know. Like, there was so much stuff that it seems away, but it actually wasn't. It was like completely the opposite. The main character was slightly annoying, but again, not too much to where I dislike this book at all. And usually an annoying character really does bug me, and it matters a lot. But there was just like a few things that she did that was kind of like questionable. Like, I believe I said this already, but
like yeah, like one thing is that she invites a stranger into her home. The other thing is that she goes to a random like stranger, at least to her, a random stranger's house, and like sits on their porch in their rocking chair. Like that's so weird. Like I don't think anybody would ever do that. Even if you're suspicious of somebody, of like your neighbor, like you, I don't think you would step foot on their like porch, or at least settle down into something that's like on their porch. You know what I mean? Like whether that's a chair, couch, whatever. Um, or even like touch any of their belongings. I just found that like very, very strange. And that kind of ties in with just like her whole character, is that like she feels like lonely, but like that's understandable because of her past and her like life growing up. Because she was neglected by her mom, so that's kind of like what leads her to do the things that she does. That's also why she got with her husband, and like their relationship wasn't good, and you know, she ended up having a baby with him because she like wanted to fix things, I guess. And that on its own is just sad. Like it's just kind of like, you know, when are women gonna learn that you cannot have a baby with somebody that's not gonna change him, that's not gonna, you know what I mean, make your relationship better? Like people should only have babies, and this is my like personal like you know, taking a pause on the book review, just like my personal thing is like, you know, having a baby is a very, very huge thing, and you know, obviously, you know, a huge responsibility, but it's just like, you know, it's totally life changing. And yeah, to just, and I know this is just a story, but like people actually think that, you know, that, oh, you know, we're bad, let me, you know, let's throw a baby into, like, no, that's gonna make things even harder and worse. So like going back to the story, the husband was a freaking complete, like, you know, sucky guy. um I'll just say that much. Another thing, I don't believe it's a spoiler at all, but you know, just trigger warning for like cheating, because that is in here. So trigger warning for that. And also kind of like if you're sensitive about, you know, maybe your significant other cheating on you for like a younger model, because that is definitely how this you know, the dad was. So yeah, trigger warning for that. Since I'm on trigger warnings, other things I want to mention is warnings for miscarriages, losing a child in any way, you know, whether it's kidnapping or a loss, just like anything like that. Really quick, take a pause on the review for this book since we're talking about mental health. Again, like I said, this one does talk about mental health as well, and it pretty much revolves around that too. But so does All the Dangerous Things. But in my opinion, All the Dangerous Things did it way, way better. Now to talk about the ending. So it was like okay, it wasn't bad, but I just feel like there was a missed opportunity there. Like I said, this whole book revolves mainly around mental health, and you know, the standards that mothers are kept to. But how it ended, it didn't end that way, or at least on that topic. There was another character that like pretty much was only mentioned once at the beginning of the book, and then at the end, like at the complete end. And then so the ending kind of ended on that character in a way, and that's kind of why I didn't like that, because it's like, why, you know, this book was like, in my opinion, very like heavy, deep and emotional and sad. And you know, Stacey Willingham was like trying to, you know, make conversation and talk about things. So the whole story was like really, really good, and the author was going about it like in a very, very like good way. um so yeah, I think she had an opportunity to kind of like end it on a like emotional or like heartfelt heavy way, and any on that topic on like, you know, mothers should be able to, I don't know, that mothers like aren't perfect, or you know, that we are gonna mess up, or you know, we're not gonna be all happy all the time. You know, we're gonna be depressed, we're gonna get depressed, we're gonna have, you know, negative thoughts or something like that. So she could have ended it well on that, but then she ended up just like ending it on some like random character that was only mentioned a few times. So I guess she definitely missed that opportunity. But aside from that, because the book was so good, and like the endings were like a big thing for me, um, that would have like definitely dropped a star or two for me. But because it wasn't too bad, I ended up just dropping half a star. That being said, I gave this book a 4.5 out of 5 stars. So that's how awesome it was. And I was like, oh man, it was so close. This was so close to being one of my favorite books. If only the ending like pulled on my heartstrings or made me cry, it would have been a really, really good read. Another thing that I almost forgot to mention is that you know, there is the thing with like this podcast guy, like he has his own story, and the reason why he's doing the things that he's doing. And you know, at the end of the story, you know, authors wrap things up. I feel like you got to know the person who was like doing the podcast, and you know, because why are you gonna bring his story into it if you're not gonna kind of like touch on it or like, you know, wrap things up? And she didn't do that, so she wrapped things up with like all these other characters, but she kind of like forgot to even like talk about him or mention him or like have him have clarity. And I think because of how things went, he definitely could have, but that was just kind of like brushed off. So yeah, those are just two things that I wish gone a little bit better, but you know, overall the book was very very good, and it, you know, like I said, it touches on really deep serious topics, so I would recommend, you know, anyone to read this really. I also read the author's note and it was really good as well. Okay, so that's my review on All the Dangerous Things by Stacey Willingham. I'm hoping that I'm not forgetting anything. It's already been 2 days, and so it's not fresh anymore, and I just know that I had a lot to say because this book was so good and it like had to talk about a lot. So yeah, I feel like I'm probably missing some things, but hopefully I covered all the main big stuff. So yeah, and now to kind of like just compare the two, and I'm sure you know how I feel. But All the Dangerous Things was obviously way better than The Perfect Mother by Amy Malloy. And don't get me wrong, with this book, it was good and I was enjoying my time. It's just definitely like a different like vibe compared to this one. It was also like the setting too, but like with this setting, it's revolved around, you know, moms and kind of like in a suburban like area and town, and like everybody's like not rich, but you know, kind of like posh, I guess, you know. And like obviously with the cover, this setting is around like a marsh, and like I forget where it's at, but I think it's Carolina, North or South Carolina, something like that. So totally complete different, you know, settings. This is around one main character and it's only through one character's POV, where this one goes through multiple POVs. What these books had in common was kind of like missing the ending, but especially this one was like way worse than this one. So, you know, like I said, with this one, you're following the mom's point of view, and then at the end, it kind of ends somewhere else. Whereas with this, the mother wasn't in here at all. You're following her friends. You're following the other moms' like point of views, and so you have no idea where the mom's at. You have no idea what she's doing, you know, where her head's at, anything like that. But the story ends with her and her point of view and perspective. But then on top of that, there's like totally just random things added in the end, but I think just for like the whole like anxious factor, you know. Like I think the author just wanted to like kind of like raise like the stakes or make you feel like, you know, oh my god, like what's going on. But yeah, for completely no reason, it was just weird how it ended, and it just did not make sense at all. You know, obviously this one made sense. Like this ending was so bad. Aside from that nonsense, you know, if you would like to read a book that, you know, that's around a mommy group or whatever, I would say still read it, like give it a try, because you know, for the most part it wasn't bad, and I was, you know, enjoying like the mystery of it and kind of like figuring out, you know, the pieces. um so yeah, just Amy Malloy lost me at the freaking end. And then All the Dangerous Things, and I can't remember, I think I gave this book 2 stars, um simply because of the ending. Like that's how bad it was. And then with this one, you know, it was super good, and then only took off a half a star for the ending. So yeah, out of the two, I would definitely recommend All the Dangerous Things for sure. I think I said this before, but they both touch like on the same thing, which is like mental health and, you know, being a good mom kind of thing. But yeah, it's kind of like if you want to compare like Walmart to like Target kind of thing, or like, you know, a child writing a book to like a grown woman who's like wise and she knows what she's doing, you know. Like I don't want to be mean at all, but yeah, that's just kind of like, you know, the difference that I got after reading these two books, which is like just so funny. But you know, like I still really enjoyed my time reading these books. um so yeah, and I think I'm definitely going to do this again if I find like books that have the same premise, obviously. So that's my video on reading 2 books with the same premise. I had a lot of fun doing this video, and I hope that you had fun watching it. So yeah, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe if you would like, and I'll see you next time.